Good evening and welcome to another edition of Touchy Gooners. It's your boy SV Carbaholic hosting today on hosting duties. Guys, appreciate all the subscribers, all the Patreons, everyone who locks in on a weekly basis. Love you guys, really appreciate it, and we hope you like the content that we keep putting out. Obviously, we've had our Patreon reaction from the Leicester victory on Saturday. So for our Patreons, make sure you've checked that out if you haven't. But yeah, let's kick into it. I'm joined tonight by both Dans, German and Nigerian. Dan, how's it going, gents?
What's happening, brother?
Yeah, Dan, you're on mute as well. Nige, Dan.
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm all good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, let's kick off. I just want to get so obviously the Arsenal, Arsenal fans on Twitter, our mood can change very quickly. We could be heavy on somebody's neck, and then we could be heavy in praise 2 minutes later. So, but obviously now we're 9 games undefeated. That's 7 wins and 2 draws in all competitions. So the mood is it's fair to say the mood is lifting around the camp. The Leicester away win was very impressive at the weekend. We managed to keep a clean sheet with that. But I want to know from you guys, I'll start with you, Nigerian Dan, like, have you, how have you felt about the run? Are you encouraged by the way we're playing? Or is there for you still a degree of skepticism about what you're seeing generally? You're on mute, Dan.
It's a techie one, right? Because I think this run is a combination of different performances, right? So the start of it, we're looking at the wins over Norwich, we're looking at the wins over Burnley. I was less than convinced that anything had changed. I think that was just a case of we're playing some poor sides, and they weren't able to really capitalize on us being as bad as we were in those games. I think in both of those matches at 0-0, I felt that we didn't really have many answers in both those games. And I think, the trend has changed a little bit. And I would say the last 2 wins have definitely been more impressive, just in terms of the way that we've approached those matches. I think the thing that, is like not allowing me to really get fully behind these results and involved in all the propaganda and whatnot, is that I think we have an issue where teams allow us to have the ball, and I'm not sure that I've seen much of a change from some of the performances we saw towards the end of last season. So going back to those Norwich and Burnley games, I think we had a lot of possession in those games, and we weren't really able to fashion chances, weren't really able to fashion clear openings. I think people mentioned that Norwich game where after we went 1-0 up, the game opened up a little bit, and some of the passes were off. Same thing with Burnley. They cited the long grass, this, that and the other. And what I found is that when other teams sort of up the tempo, sort of block off our outballs, we don't really seem to have an answer. So, you look at the Brighton game, where they basically just pammed us for, 70, 80 minutes of that game. I think we started the first 10 minutes well. And then after that, we couldn't get out. We didn't really have an answer to anything that they were throwing at us. And then the Crystal Palace game started well, scored 1 goal. They got in the ascendancy. We really didn't have an answer again for another, 60, 70 minutes. And that reminds me of this Leicester match that just happened most recently. This time we went 2-0 up, and looking at the stats, I think after that first 10, 20 minutes, they outshot us 15-4. We had something like 30% possession. So I'm not sure yet that I'm fully invested. I think the team are doing well. They're pressing better, which was one of the things that we were calling out for earlier in the season that we weren't seeing, because that seems like an easy win to chance creation. So yeah, it's a funny run. It's definitely one that I'm keeping my eye on and seeing how the team progresses. But for me, I need to see more in terms of us being a better side on the ball, and then not allowing teams to really get a stranglehold of the game so easily.
Cool. Yeah, no, I don't really disagree. And German Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I grew up on Arsenal basically playing good football every week, winning most weeks. So you know, I, I'm encouraged by the run to some degree. I think especially the last 2 games, but in the words of the GOAT Future, I'm never satisfied, man. Listen, I need Arsenal to start playing real good football again and win like basically most weeks, and then I'll be, my mind will be at ease. I'll be at peace. I will stop drinking Baileys and all that stuff. But right now, I'm still on edge because I'm not gonna be here and say, "Oh yeah, I'm super encouraged," but I'm just not that kind of person. I'm always more skeptical and critical, and then I'll try to look at the information that's at hand, and as the information on some of the stats that Dan has mentioned, um, there are still some worrying signs. I still think that we don't quite dominate games like we could and should. But I think we're definitely on a good trajectory currently. It's important to keep this momentum. I think in a group I was speaking about cadence and sort of sequencing of matches. We have a lot of rest between the Leicester game, which was on a Saturday, in the morning, and then the next game is Watford on a Sunday afternoon. That's like 8 days. No games in between. Complete, completely able to prepare for that game in isolation, like it's a cup final essentially. And we need to play like that every week. Every week, the first 20, 30 minutes, even if there are some deficiencies in the way we control games over 90 minutes, if there's some deficiencies in the way we create from open play, we need to go out there first 20, 30 minutes and completely try get 1 or 2 goals and then try leave with something. That's what we have to do basically every game, in my opinion. The cadence of games allows us to do that. And that's how teams like Leicester made their way up the league, man. That's how they made their way up the league. They turned up every Saturday and Sunday when they needed to and rested in the week, prepared in the week. And I think we have a good opportunity here, but I need to see results. I'm not someone that likes to project. I need to see the figures and the facts, and then I can run with it. For example, we saw one article come out this week talking about how Arsenal have been proved right without sticking with Arteta. They haven't been proved right at all yet. They haven't been proved right at all yet. They have been proved right if he achieves the objectives set out at the end of the season. Until then, reserve your judgment. Watch how the team plays. Try to get behind the team, and that's it. But don't come out here making these early statements. We're just gonna end up looking like idiots if we do that. So, and I'm not in the business of trying to look like an idiot. So I'll reserve my judgment. I'll support the team, of course, and I want us to do well. And I'm happy we're getting some results finally, man. My weekends are calm now. I'm chilling on the weekend, man. Like I was on a Sunday. I was out on a Sunday, like no worries on my mind. Like I was cool. I need that every week, and then I start talking a bit more wild. I think because I do lose my mind.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with both of you. I feel like while the results have definitely seen an upturn, there is still some skepticism about us breaking down deep blocks. Now, obviously, we've counter pressed quite well in the last couple of games. But I guess to sort of play devil's advocate, some fans might say, well, the overall level of the Premier League has improved. You can't control or dominate games for that long now. Everyone seems to play in spurts, like 10, 20, 30-minute bursts, and you try and get your stuff in. But yeah, I mean, what would you say to counteract that, Nigerian Dan? Do you think that there's merit in that, or do you still think there's other approaches we can maybe take to, even if we don't necessarily, have possession the whole time, just to control the stem and the tide of the flow a bit better in games?
I can't lie. I think it's a personnel issue and a mentality issue. So I think it's going to be quite difficult to just flip a switch. For me, I think the lack of experience in the squad does make a big difference, because you look at if you look at the back line, for instance, that's been playing. You got Ramsdale there, who's 23, who has played a lot of football. So I'm not really looking at him too much. But if we're looking at who the main organizer is at the back, this season it looks like that's Gabriel. And as far as I'm aware, this is probably his first season where he is the organizer in the defence. Prior to joining Arsenal, I think it was sort of 18 months to 2 years at Lille, and he wasn't really playing too much in his first season there. So he had sort of under 100 top 5 league appearances before he joined Arsenal, and he was in and out of the team last year. So if that's the guy who is sort of deciding where the line is going to be, deciding how deep you're going to drop, I'm not sure yet that he's got that necessary experience that when we are getting pushed back, that he can then, sort of pull the line forward. And then when you look at centre midfield, I do think someone like Xhaka, even though I don't necessarily think we miss his on the ball ability, I do think we probably miss his experience, his ability to defend space a little bit when you have someone like Lokonga in there, or Erdegaard, who's been asked to play in that deeper role a little bit. So for me personally, I think we need a defensive midfielder, like a proper defensive mid that their primary job is to win the ball back, and then maybe drive forward with the ball, pass it to some of the other players who can drive us forward with the ball. Because I look at it, I see Partey as more a ball playing centre mid. I know he's good at winning the ball back with his frame, with his height, with his strength, and speed across the ground, and he's a good tackler, good at getting ball recoveries. But I don't think his primary job should really be to win the ball back. And outside of him in that team, I'm not sure that we have anyone who has that defensive instinct or defensive, sort of nous to try and win the ball back when we are under the cosh. So I know Bissouma, someone that's been mentioned loads, but a player of that ilk, I think next to Partey, helps us control games a little bit more, because they can stop teams stringing 3 or 4 passes together. They stop teams playing straight down the middle of us, and they can turn and get other teams pinned back as well, which I think someone like Kante showed in a lot of big games towards the end of last season, how effective having someone like that would be in the team. So I think that is a profile that we're missing in central midfield, and I'd like to see us go grab someone like that in January.
Cool. Dan, anything to add? Do you think it's just a personnel issue, or do you think it's tactical as well? Because it is interesting, despite my reservations about Arteta, when I have seen him, he's always trying to gesticulate to the back, to the back line to push up. He's always trying to push the line higher. So it doesn't seem like it's a tactical decision for them to try and drop deep. But maybe it is, to Dan's point a bit about, lack of experience. When you look, he's already mentioned, you got Ramsdale, 23, Gabriel, 23, White, 23, Tomiyasu, I think he's 22, Tierney's 24, but Tavares is only 20, so it is very, very young. So it is maybe a case of building some more, confidence, building some more coherency. So maybe it is a time thing. Maybe that will improve over the course of the season.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of things. I think age probably does play a big role. I genuinely think it is a quality issue as well. Like, you have players that I think Odegaard's playing way below the level that he is and should be for us. So that's the type of player that if you're good at retaining the ball high up the pitch, that defensive line is always going to shift up higher, because the ball is in the opposition half more often, more regularity, more frequency, all that good stuff. Because it's not at the moment, and we are very much a transition-based team. I don't think we have enough profiles in the team, and even of the required quality to allow us to pin teams back for longer periods. So I think we've mentioned Partey. Partey is one that adds to this, but Partey is also not someone that just just passes the ball for the sake of keeping it. He's very aggressive in his passing, so he can turn over the ball. You know, he'll try fizz through the lines, and if there's not someone that can win the ball back quickly, then possession is lost and we're on the back foot again. So I think I said this couple of weeks ago. I think we're kind of in limbo at the moment between a team that has some capabilities of being a strongly possession-based team, and then a team that actually has a lot of players that favor more the transition-based approach. And right now, in game states, I think we've managed to assert our qualities better in periods, but before we struggled really to do that. So when we were supposed to be transitioning, we were doing the play and the possession stuff, and it was not working. When we were supposed to do the possession stuff, we were trying to transition, turning over the ball, getting countered. So when we applying those sort of skills that didn't work in the past, I think we're doing that a bit better now in terms of application, but generally the quality is still lacking. We need someone that on the break can commit players. We need players that are much better under pressure. I think Saka and ESR are very good under pressure. However, I've said this before, which is why I think ESR is more of a winger or like a dynamic sort of forward than a playmaker. He's not a high touch player. So Saka is a higher touch player, I think, than ESR actually. So he comes to the ball a lot, he secures the ball a lot, retains it a lot. We need more profiles like that. When we then throw people off the bench, who's coming on off the bench? Martinelli, Pepe, people that turn over the ball quite a lot. Who have we got in midfield that can come on? Right now, we can't really bring on Xhaka. So who's coming on? Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I think he can be calm in possession, but he's also not a high touch player, also not a player that looks after the ball that well. And then he's just someone that passes the sideways all the time. So the ball doesn't go forward. We don't have the profiles. We still lack quality a lot to do what I want us to do, which is why I'm not that harsh on that aspect. What I require, however, is that we able to win games in the fashion and manner that we've won in the last couple of weeks. And we need to add quality, as I said, in midfield and also out wide. Getting players that are more secure in possession, getting more high touch volume players, and getting more players who are dynamic, can commit players. Like we talked about this in the group. Saint Maximin on the left wing would be great, or someone on the right wing like Sulemana would be great. That when we're playing against which one? It was Leicester, when they were pinning us back. I think we lacked the quality to get out, not even difficult situations, like medium difficulty situations. And I'll just think back, Uzu, Alexis, Cazorla. Those situations, these men are turning. Quick break. We're getting at least a goal and a chance created from those type of situations. Leicester were actually quite open. We just didn't have that quality. If we do have that quality, we can punish teams. And then once teams realize, okay, we can't actually really go full throttle on Arsenal because they still can at the moment. Once they realize that, they will step back as well, which then allows us to exert our control a bit more. So all these things are like counterbalance points that kind of make it more difficult for us to have a very distinct style of play. But the main thing for me is quality.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You hear that, Mikel? Centre mid, left wing, striker. You know, get me on the blower, or maybe not. As you know, in the group chat this week, I have been getting corned a lot for some of my failed opinions. So you saw the segue there. So let's segue into it. So we're going to go into like a little segment now. We're going to talk about some Arsenal opinions from each of us. So one that we got wrong, one opinion that we held that we got wrong, and one opinion that we held that proved correct over time. So I'll kick it off with the wrong one. Another one to add to my list as I have an ever increasing list. So I will chuck one that I thought I'll chuck out there is Reece Nelson. Now I thought Reece Nelson was going to be a guy. I really did think he was going to be a guy at academy level. He was just as good as Sancho. Some said he was better than Sancho. Could go both ways. He really looked to have it, but he's really struggled with this transition into senior football. Even though he had an okay-ish loan at Hoffenheim. You guys remember when Arteta first came in, we all thought Reece Nelson was going to be his project. Remember, Reece Nelson was the one who was starting the first few games. Pepe was on the bench, but he doesn't seem to have kicked on. Spent a lot of last season in the under-23s, played some Europa League games, but he's really stagnated. Obviously, he's still only 20, so there is still time on his side. Obviously, he's now on loan at Feyenoord, but I don't know if he's even starting there. So yeah, that is another one to add to my dreadful list of shots. What do you guys think of that one?
That one is a sticky one still, man. I wasn't really that hot on them, but it's easy to be hot on them. You get it. When we saw the clips from the academy, this boy was balling, man.
Yeah,
he was looking like Neymar in the academy, boy.
Wow, crazy, man. Hail it, Neymar, you know.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, and then he had also that loan at Hoffenheim, and I did watch some of their games. He didn't really start games, and he came on as like a lot of times like a striker. Like I think it was even wearing the number 9 for them. Came on and he scored like, I don't want to sound like an XG merchant, but at the time, honestly, he was scoring chances there. Like those are not really chances, man. Like he was just clapping the ball from like mad angles. I was thinking, okay, this guy might actually be it. But it just turned out it was like a Pulisic-esque sort of purple patch, I think.
yeah. You know what's mad about that?
When there were jugging teams already, so.
You know what's mad about that? I was just doing some searching on some historical tweets and that, yeah. So I said, locked into Touchy Gooners pod. I can't believe someone's comparing Nelson to Jordan Ibe. Yeah, and I was and I was like, this is so harsh. The guy's barely played any minutes, but boy, that comparison is looking accurate right now, man. So Sean, I was definitely in your boat because the thing is as well, like when you watch youth football, and since I was in uni, I've been watching like some of these under-23 games and stuff like that. Nelson was actually like supposed to be the truth in it. Do you know what I mean? So he was dunking on all of these small boys. So, you know, he's scoring free kicks, he's taking set pieces, he's doing an absolute mazine every week. So, you know, and I think when he first went to Hoffenheim, him and Sancho, they were doing like a tit for tat type
every
thing.
week,
like
boy.
One week, then Nelson was back the next week, and I was like, yeah, no, that these men are running the same. Do you know what I mean? They're looking similar. So yeah, that's that one. I can't even be too mad at you though, but yeah, I think with Nelson, I feel like he could have done something with his career, done way more than now. But I'm not sure what his motivation's like and that kind of thing, because you know he got injured. I think he's rejected a couple loans and that. So I don't know if he's all about playing personally, but you know, maybe that's me being presumptuous.
It's a shame, because I think one thing that's not disputable is that Nelson has ability. He actually has a lot of ability, but you know, sometimes having ability and it translating at the right level and can be very, very different, because you know, look at, I mean, he's got the perfect example of ESR and Saka. He was ahead of both of them. Do you know what I mean? So, and now he's not in the picture at all. So it just shows how quickly things can change, but also, you know, having the right mentality to succeed at the top level is key and paramount as well, which I think a lot of people doubt his application, which is a shame. But you know, he's still our player, so we'll see. But go on, Nigerian Dan, give us your wrong shout.
Wrong shout. Oof, there's been a few of these, you know. There's been a few of these. Let me even just think, because my wrong shout, yeah, Hector Bellerin. I'm gonna put that out there, yeah, because
I can't lie, I was gonna do that one, so I have to think of another one.
Yeah, Hector Bellerin, because this is another one that when I was watching him, so I remember vividly watching one. I can't remember. It was like the old like youth Champions League thing that Arsenal used to play, and I think then they played, and then they were playing that. And Bellerin, him and Gnabry,
they were running riot, boy.
Were running riot down that right side, and I was like, my goodness, this Hector Bellerin guy is going to be an absolute mazine. He went to Watford on loan, and I think he did quite well at Watford. And I was like, yeah, this guy's the truth. He came in, and then I remember his debut, and I was in one of my WhatsApp groups, and I was like to all these man, yeah, look, this was against Dortmund, I think it was, in the Champions League, yeah. And then when Debussy got shoved into the advertising boards, and I was telling all my boys, I was like, look, yeah, Bellerin, look, he's gonna murk it today. He's gonna be fantastic. And I remember they absolutely pammed him that game against Dortmund. Mkhitaryan, Royce, and everyone, they were just running rings around him. It was very peak, and I was getting pelters. But even after that season, I thought, and right up until probably Wenger left, I was really rating this guy. But I think basically since he went vegan, it's been a downhill struggle, man. And then obviously he got that ACL in Emery's first season, and it basically was just a write-off for him. And I don't think he's looked the same. But that was one guy that I thought was like, yeah, going to be one of the best right backs in the world. But yeah, I have to hold the L on that one.
I mean, to be fair, you don't even necessarily have to hold the L, because I remember when he was flying, you know, there was talks that Barca were going to bid 50 mil odd for him. Do you know what I mean? So at the time, it looked like a very, very good shot. It's just in hindsight, you know, sometimes, as we've seen with football, players that are really good, you know, at a young age, sometimes they don't always push on and hit that next level that you're hoping that they can reach. So I don't think that's the wildest shot, because at the time he was looking mad. But yeah, German Dan, give us your shot.
I think, so to keep it recent, I think in recent times from the transfers that we've made, one that I was really, really convinced of, and to some degree I still am, but I might just be bugging. But I was really convinced of Lucas Torreira, and when he came in, the way he came in as well, he started really, really well. He had some amazing games. I think 5 or 6 games in a row, and he was just top quality. And you're like, this position is sorted for the next 5 years. Come next season, boy, it was all done. And I think he's got like a year left on his deal in the summer or something. So, and also the clubs that he's going, like at the time, he was playing so well. I was like, I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep this guy, because he's South American. He's the type of guy that I can see wanting to go to like the Atletico Madrid, actually play there as well. The PSGs, like I thought he'd go to one of the big continental clubs at some point. I would want to. And I was thinking, okay, how much money could we get from him after like 5-6 games? So it was a player that really encouraged me. And then when I used to work as like a football analyst, I used to watch a lot of Serie A games. So I was watching them a lot at Sampdoria. And you know when you're like so surprised that Arsenal are linked with this player, because that, like, I think that was the transfer window. That was the first transfer window when I thought, okay, these men might be using the data, because we're using data at my old work. And I was like, they're looking at the data, because on all the metrics, he's looking crazy. Torreira, he was, and there was still a lot of strings to his bow that he had at Sampdoria that we never saw at Arsenal. Like, actually, never saw. He was a free kick specialist at Sampdoria. Like, he was whipping in the maddest deliveries, shooting from like 30-35 yards out from free kicks, hitting the crossbar, scoring. Like he looked like a proper player. And then obviously he had all that ball winning stuff, and he was also more sort of like, how do you say? Lira always says he's a pussy with his passing, but he was more brave with his passing. Like, I was thinking, yeah, we've signed the player here. And then again, to kind of touch on what you guys said, and your examples might have been slightly different because they come from the academy, but the adaptation and then application to do that consistently, and you know, every week, and actually like do the things that you're good at very well. It's not that easy, actually. Even though, I mean, he's in the percentile of being an elite footballer. They all are in the top 5 leagues, but yeah, he can't put it on the pitch all the time. And the way his time at Arsenal went is quite shameful, you could say, really. I think that might have been some Arteta not liking him, or some personal sort of dispute. I made that theory time ago when I thought Torreira started actually quite well again under Arteta. I was like, yeah, this boy's back. And then he got like an injury, never got back in the team. I think he probably rejected the pay cut as well. Yeah, and since then, loan at Atletico flop, really. Now he's on loan at Fiorentina.
Antonio.
I was yeah, so
ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
I was about to say with Torreira, he's at Fiorentina. I've literally not heard a single thing. He's even playing at Fiorentina. I've not heard his name once.
I've watched some of their games. He's playing. It's just meaty at the moment, bro. I can't lie. You know how when he was playing in the 10 under Emery, he was just throwing his body into everything.
Yeah.
That's how he's playing right now.
I don't even know what happened to Torreira, man. I think I hope his mental's all right, because it just seems that he's not in a good place. So I don't know if that's why his form just took a nosedive. Obviously, Emery playing him in number 10 made no sense. And
that is still like one of the biggest terrorist moves I've ever seen a manager do. Like, I can't lie to you. And that for me is why I'll never ever forgive that guy. I don't get, to this day, I'm still suffering PTSD from the Emery era, man. I'm still suffering. So, but yeah, it's a real shame about Terrero. To be fair, there's a couple others that came to mind, even recent ones. You know, I wasn't very big on Saka at the start. I think a lot of us in the group, we all admitted to that. I remember the shouts initially that we only saw him as a left back, you know. But then obviously he moved further forward, and you know, eventually moved to right wing, and he started moving brazy. Obvious one, Ramsdale. I think a lot of us look like we're gonna have to swallow a big L on that one. But hey, listen, I can't lie. That distribution is an absolute madness. I've never seen anything like that,
bro. I don't even share about no saves no more, bro.
Yeah, for real, man. I can't lie to you. Like some of the passes that I've seen this guy do, they're completely like over and above anything that I thought he was capable of. And the thing that I don't understand is, I don't really get why we didn't see any of this, because this seems like such an obvious and useful skill for any team, regardless of the style that you play. Like, so even if you're playing, you know, sort of long ball football, Sheffield United, they had man like McGoldrick and stuff like that they used as target men. So I didn't really understand why, you know, he wasn't really fizzing these passes into them. So, you know, it definitely seems like a secret weapon that he's kept in his locker. But boy, if we're taking L's on that, then I'm happy to.
Yeah, I feel like you said, it's for any team, even if you're not trying to play out from the back, that kicking is such a wild string to the bow to have. It can really just dictate how you orchestrate, how you set up your team in so many different ways, so many different facets. Just to know, like, even kicking out of his hand, kicking on the ground, breaking lines. I'm not seeing, like, because you know, you made the point about it's more than good. Like, you can see a goalkeeper sometimes, like, you're like, oh, he's got decent distribution. This is pretty much verging on, like, I don't know, like I said, only Edison and Allison I'm seeing that are doing the stuff that I've seen Ramsdale do so far. That's how over and above the kicking has shocked me. I can't lie to you. I can't, especially in the last 2 games, definitely. And there was one against Palace as well. I think he broke a line with ridiculously, but yeah.
Yeah, when we think of these examples, I think I have one more, to be honest. Granit Xhaka, man, he looked really good at Gladbach. I think, and I'm saying Xhaka because I think that player and the way his Arsenal career has transpired, I think is well documented what all of us think about him. But that player has genuinely changed my outlook on what I deem like real qualities in midfielders, because his lack of mobility, I just feel like he gets exposed too many times. Even when he has a good game, in any given moment, it can happen. You know, that lack of mobility in midfield has completely changed what I want in a midfielder. Like, for basically ever, if you present me a Mark Roca, a Xhaka, even a Fabian Ruiz, I'm looking at, like, listen, what are the Renato Sanchez and what are the Sumas doing? Because I'd rather buy there. I'd rather shop there, you know. So yeah, that's definitely one that I was big on him. I wouldn't say I was a proper stan, but I was like, yeah, this is a quality signing. Let's get him in. He's going to be able to dictate from deep and whatever. And then a couple games in, I think he had one good game under Wenger where I thought, oh, him and Cazorla played together. I was like, oh, yeah, this can run.
I think that was Watford away.
Yeah. Good memory, that is. I was like, ooh, this can run. And then, boy, it didn't take him. It didn't take him long to start fouling people like crazy and kicking people and doing all that stuff and that. And then that's when he lost me, to be fair, quite early. But I was pretty sold on him in the beginning.
I think that this is obviously a league that really exposes your lack of mobility. Obviously, I think Arteta's probably done well to hide it, since we haven't seen as many Xhaka brain farts since Arteta's been in charge. But yeah, generally I agree with the premise. I just don't want any midfielder who can't run. Do you know what I mean? When you look at the data, when you look at the stats, the league is getting faster, more athletic every year. Do you know what I mean? So So much so that, do you know what I mean? So I just don't, I really don't want to have to carry any player or any deficiency. Do you know what I mean? So every player should be able to hold their own zone, win their duels. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's one thing that's noticeable, you know, which is why we've been so big on like Gabriel praise, even Tomiyasu aerial duels as well. Do you know what I mean? Players who are winning, who are two-way, who can go either way. And you know, it's why I think Tavares is showing a lot of encouragement recently as well. So these are definitely things I want to factor in mind going forward.
One name as well. Sorry, Dan. Another import from German league. Yeah,
we taxing it, baby.
It's Kolasinac, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch this guy at all in Germany. I didn't watch him at all. But I was reading all the reports. Bundesliga team of the season, can play as a wing back, can play left back, can play left centre back, all of this. I was reading it, and then this guy, let me tell you, this guy fooled me. In his first 6 months, this guy fooled me, like he fooled the hell out of me, because I think he was looking like some attacking fullback, slamming in crosses, slamming in shots. I think he scored in like one of his first 5 appearances or something like that. Yeah, and I was like, rah, we've picked a gem out here, 100K a week. I was like, yeah, light work, you know, whatever, this, that, and the other. And then boom, 1 season later, like I hated him. I hated his guts. And I remember distinctly that Europa League final, where in the first 10 minutes, this guy has the opportunity to just play a square ball to Aubameyang, and he blazed it out. And I was like, look, the thing is, if we scored that, you know, history might be different right now, you know, like we could have Champions League ball, could have had a couple more players that summer, this, that, and the other. So I'm pinning that all on Kolasinac shoulders as well. But that guy fooled the hell out of me. I was shouting to Tobes, oh yeah, look at this signing that we just made, better than Trippier, all of this stuff, like this, that, and the other. And then, yeah, man, he let me down big time.
I thought we had some Bosnian Roberto Carlos at the club, you know. I just thought, yeah, this guy is really gonna do an absolute madness, bro. But yeah, he's a big false image, boy. He pulled the wool over everybody's eyes so much so, and you can tell by just some of these guys that pulled the wool over our eyes. Because look at someone like Mustafi, Mustafi had stands, you know, and now he's playing at Levante. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'm sure the same is going to happen with Kolasinac when his contract expires at the end of the season. He ain't going to end up nowhere good. So, yeah, boy, hopefully these guys, you know, are doing more of their due diligence now with signing. So,
bro, there's one more though, like because I told you, like Xhaka has like shaped the way I was thinking about midfielders. They need mobility. Then when we signed one on loan, I was thinking, oh, he's kind of mobile, good touch, can turn, you know. Ceballos. Everyone had me. Oh, god damn it! This is why I had to go so hard.
Man, we're lucky Lewis ain't here, man.
Yeah, Lewis needs to be here to defend his boy. But oh my god, that guy!
That might be the biggest false image.
I think everyone could, to be honest.
I'm literally holding him accountable for us going out the Europa League. He was literally playing against us so many times last season. That guy, bro, he was just giving the ball away in stupid positions. He was spinning like a Beyblade in his own third. He was making me so angry. And you know what's really annoying? Because when you look at him, that's the sort of profile of an 8 you want, and that you think, oh, do you know what? He looks like he should be sick. Yeah. But the reality is, you know, again, you're coming to this league, you need to be able to win your duels, handle the intensity. And at times I just felt like he was just so overwhelmed, man. And I'm just, thank God he ain't here no more. I saw the link the other day, said Arsenal winning back on loan again. I said I will raise fire on earth, but if we buy that guy, we bring that guy back again.
Oh my God! But when I turn on the buyers, man, man, you know, you might know me now from the group chat, innit? Like, I usually I give players time. I don't run the agenda on Arsenal players too tough. But Ceballos, man, I had to raise it, bro. I had to raise it, man. This guy was making me so fucking sick. Every week, he was taking 3-4 touches instead of passing the ball. And oh man, you know everything that I don't like in a player, like taking your time, overdoing things, all this stuff. He was doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh man, he was making me really sick. And then he started to sabotage us as well. Oh my God.
Nice.
No, I agree. Let's go on to opinions which we've got right. Yeah, Nigerian Dan, let's start with you. An opinion you had maybe like a while back that you've been proven right about, or one that's even recent as well.
To be honest, a recent one, I'm going to go with Saka because I never subscribed to this this left back thing, and I thought that he always had some potential in being one of the forward areas. I didn't anticipate that it would be at right wing, but I feel like in nowadays, when you see a left-footed player play on the left side or a right-footed player play on the right side, a lot of people just sort of pigeonhole them as fullbacks or like wing backs. So I think I even saw people saying Dwight McNeil could be a quality left back for Chelsea, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, why can't he just be a left winger, like he is now, a left midfielder like he is now? And I felt that Saka was getting that same treatment just because he wasn't necessarily able to show his full set of skills. So that was one that I was definitely like adamant on, that I saw this guy as being a forward more than a left back, because obviously as well I didn't see his defending being anything spectacular, and he always had that black man's blood, black man's strength, So I could see him sort of growing into his body, becoming a bit more powerful, and gaining that explosiveness that he might not necessarily be able to show, when he's 17, 18 years old. So that was one that I definitely thought people were being a bit too premature on pigeonholing him as a left back.
Yeah, cool. Dan, did you always have that feeling on Saka, or were you a bit skeptical?
I was a bit skeptical. Again, you guys know me. I don't like making shouts too conclusive at the beginning. I like getting more information. I was like, he looks like he could be an elite left back sort of talent. I was like, I'm not sure he's just completely left back. And I wasn't also sure about his physical capabilities. It was very difficult to tell how fast he is. I was like, he seems pretty strong, and now we see he's actually really strong, and he's still quite young. And I think he still has some developing to do physically. So I don't think I completely said he's a left back, but I said I think this might be the position for him, left wing back. I think he could be a top talent there. I didn't quite have the thinking of that he might be a forward. He was just playing left back, so I was like, yeah, this could be a left back for the future. So yeah, I think that's what it was with Saka for me. But very early, I felt like he had like resemblance from Arsenal players that when they come for hell and they actually make it Arsenal. So I was pretty sure he's gonna make it and he's gonna be a first teamer. He just had that ball reception. All the sort of players I see come through from Hayland who really do well in the first team, and which is where I think Reece Nelson fell short in the end. Not in the end, we might still bring it back, might dunk on my head top, but I think where he really fell short was the ball reception. He was not that secure with the ball. Like not like a Saka, even a Wolby. Like I think in the academy, I'm pretty sure Nelson was raising more hellfire than Iwobi was. But when Iwobi came into the first team, hella secure on the ball, hella good at turning under pressure, receiving, playing off people, combination. He had all these things, and he made a stay in the first team just through those skills, because that's the way we played. And I felt like Saka had that. I felt like ESR had that. I felt like ESR was playing on the right wing too much when he came through at first. But I felt like this ball reception looks good on the right. And I'm a right foot player. I know if you're not a proper direct winger and you like more of an interlink player, it's more difficult doing what you want to do on the right, because the ball reception is easy on the left. You can come inside, you can spin outside. It's just a more natural sort of feel of receiving the ball. So I thought, if he goes on the left or plays in that left side of space, he's going to look better even. And he was scoring, I think, even some goals in the Europa League. So he was definitely a player where I thought like, yeah, him and Saka, I felt like they have the reception, and they can do well on the first team, and they're now probably in our top 5 players for sure, maybe even top 3.
Yeah, totally agree. Give us your shutdown on who you were right about.
I think and this one is with a pinch of salt, because I still feel like there could have maybe been a space for him Arsenal. and I've kind of like changed my opinion on them. But I think I was completely right on my assessment on Willock. Said I don't think he is Arsenal starting quality. And I felt like the skills that he has, the way that he plays doesn't quite suit Arsenal. Arsenal would have to be a different team for him to really, really, do his thing and come through and play regular minutes in the first team as well. I just felt like he's always going to be a guy that we bring off the bench, and he makes a contribution this way. It's in similar mode to maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who then didn't want to play right back. So yeah, I felt like just technically he wasn't quite there for an Arsenal player in midfield, in terms of being secure with the ball. He obviously has a lot of skills, and in terms of being physical, and also his movement is very good. And I was also wrong. I didn't think he was going to be a Premier League player. That part I got wrong, but I was very right that I just didn't think he was going to be good enough for Arsenal. And you can argue and say, yeah, he's at Newcastle, so he might be good enough still in the future. But I think it's very telling when Arsenal sell a player that is young. We try to really hold on to all these players to the very end, really. Like a lot of times we're holding on way too long, and Willock and Iwobi were players that we sold when their interest was there, and I think that was telling, and that the club doesn't always do that. So I don't think that they viewed him as someone that they wanted to build around long term, clearly. So I think I was right there, which feels a little bit bittersweet, because I went back on my opinion on, I don't think he's a Premier League player, because he definitely is. And I was actually quite happy that he proved to be one. And he obviously went on that mad run at Newcastle. And I think he's quite cool. Like, he's a cool kid. Like, he's a bit banterish. So I felt like it's always nice having these Hell-End boys, isn't it? So it feels kind of bittersweet that he's in the Premier League, but not Arsenal. But in the end, we want just the very, very best to be here. So here's what it is.
Cool. I'll go with my one. Oh, sorry, Dan, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, with Willock, it's a funny one, because I think he would probably fit more into how we're playing right now than someone like Odegaard. So just, playing on that transition, having players, that 4-3-3 that we were trying to do, because I think he is more of a physical presence there in centre mid. And some of the things that we've seen him do at Newcastle, I think would have been some of the things that we're sort of asking Odegaard to do, but he doesn't quite have the physical capability. So, coming in to assist Partey, picking up those balls and then beating a man and driving us up the field, which is quite interesting, and it sort of leads me to believe that this isn't necessarily how Arteta planned for us to play the season, because for me, he's another one that would thrive in transition, and he has an eye for goal. So I definitely don't think that this is like the long-term vision for Arsenal, because of the reasons that Dan said. But I think it's one to watch, because I do think there is like a base level of technique there. Judging him on this Newcastle stint, I think is difficult to do, because they basically, just don't have a coach that has any sort of pedigree. So I definitely would like to see what becomes of Willock, because I am a fan of him. I do like physical players. I like players with power. I like players that have an eye for goal. So I do hope that he does make a good career for himself. But yeah, it looks like it's not going to be at Arsenal anymore.
Cool. I'm gonna end it with my one. And this guy, I remember last season when he was in the team and people were the gas people were doing for him, it rattled my brain to the core. But listen, Pablo Mari, this actual guy. I remember last season people were like, yeah, we need to find Pablo Mari a partner. I was appalled, honestly. This guy's not good. Like, and I don't know how people were trying to, how people just try to justify whatever the club does, even though it's nonsense. You know what I mean? What sane club is going to buy a centre back from Brazil at the age of 26, 27? He's a Spanish centre back playing in Brazil at that age. What does that tell you, bro? He's not at the level. Do you know what I mean? And if you look at the other clubs he had played for before, they were all just journeyman clubs. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that we spent, I don't even know how much it cost. It seemed the deal seemed shady. He's not great. He's not strong. He's not fast. He's not even what I'd call a ball playing centre back. But I remember when people were saying he was better than Gabriel last season. I nearly fell over, and do you remember? You guys remember that as well. So, and it's noticeable that he's pretty much since when was the last game he played? I mean, well, I think the last game he played was he hasn't played since Chelsea when Lukaku ragrolled him, pretty much. And that was the only because remember the next week we played Chelsea and we played 5 at the back, and Pablo Mari was on the bench and Kolasinac was one of the centre backs. So I think that told me all I needed to know about this guy. Do you know what I mean? So, and the fact that, a big waste of resources. Because if you remember at the time, we were linked with Bruno Guimaraes. So Edu went to Brazil with that suitcase, and he didn't come back with the right player. Boy, he should have been coming back with Bruno Guimaraes, and he came back with Pablo Mari. But yeah, I'm sure probably he might be someone who's up for sale at the end of the season, just because. If we're speaking, hopefully, if we're speaking about, if we can get into a decent position and we can make room for Saliba, that's definitely one of the ones that's got to go.
Like, he has no business at Arsenal, and I think we've been unequivocally clear on this. But yeah, we did have to fight the allegations last year and around February. People talking about, Holding and Murray, that might be our best centre back partnership. No, the fuck they're not. They're just playing against West Brom. That's what they're doing right now. It was a crazy time, man.
People gassed that performance so much. That and the Chelsea game, where obviously they gassed it so much. Yeah, man. And as well, and I remember when they stopped gassing it was when that Villarreal first leg, and they were hella passive. Him, Holding, Chambers, they were getting ragrolled by Paco Alcacer and those guys there, and I was like, this is not good. I can't believe, do you know what I mean? And it says something as well, like that. Do you know what I mean? Because there were times when Arteta was preferring Mari to him. Do you know what I mean? And for me, there was no logical reason, obviously, apart from the period where Gabriel had COVID and it took him a bit of a while to come back, but. Gabriel was so far clear of him, it's not even a comparison. And it was so crazy that people were making these comparisons last season.
And the thing is, I saw the lineup for that Villarreal first leg, and I was even thinking that Gabriel was out injured or something like that. And I just see that Gabriel was there chilling on the bench. Luis was there on the bench as well. So this guy was going into our biggest game of the season, playing our 2 weakest centre-backs with our 2 strongest ones sitting on the bench. So I'm truly disgusted by the praise that Mari was getting, because we got told we are negative. We got told that, we're being unfair to Mari, etc. When we called him out immediately, because when he first came, I think he played West Ham.
City.
It was West Ham, I think, in the league when Antonio span him. Then he played Man City, and then he pulled his Achilles or something like that, trying to move. And I was like, bro, this guy, I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. Really, wait for him to come back. Played West Ham again, I think, it was a Chelsea game that time. Sorry, and I think that was a really good performance from everyone else, bar Mari, basically in that game where he was getting caught up the pitch, giving fouls away. He gave away the penalty that Leno saved as well in that match. And I was like, yeah, this guy actually just isn't good. He's not good. But I think, he had a nice trim and a nice manicured beard and whatnot. Yeah. So people gave him the benefit of the doubt, man. Handsome tax. Yeah. He benefited from that because, my goodness, the guy, he sucks, man. He absolutely sucks. If he was there with Rob Holding's old hairline, I think people would have been on him.
I'm telling you something right now, yeah. The handsome tax is a real thing for Arsenal fans, because the way these guys give leverage to players who, let me say, have the Western sort of look. Like they get a longer sort of grace period. All of a sudden, I don't know. He looks okay. He doesn't look that Chelsea game, because in that Chelsea game we got away with it in a little bit because we won 3-1, and people just remembered us winning. and being quite dominant in the first half. But he was the worst in that game. He was getting spun a couple times. He gave the penalty away. He was every time the ball was near him, I was like, oh my god. Like, you know when you're just thinking, there's another mistake coming. There's another mistake coming. Yeah, he was not good in that game. I don't think he's had any good big games for us, to be honest. I can't remember any. I'll be very honest. Very, very, very much struggling to think. Like even some of that Holding. I mean, Holding has been here longer, I guess, but I remember like the one or two occasions when he played quite well in a bigger game. But yeah, Mari, I've not seen anything, and yeah, he's shit, man.
No arguments from me there. So yeah, we're coming up to about an hour, so we might look to wrap it up now. I think we're going to have probably we might do a preview of the Watford game on Sunday for Patreon as well, and then we might do a post match again as well, reaction for the Watford game. So and I'll be back again at the Emirates on Sunday. You know, it's like we have a couple positive results, and I'm back there again. So and I'm wary of predicting a positive result. Last time I tried to predict a positive result was the Palace game, and we also had that one turned out as well. So, but just quickly,
I've already
gents,
done it, man. I've already done it. So sorry to cut in, but I said on the Patreon piece, man, Aubameyang hat trick. I need that, man. I'm manifesting that, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, he likes to plunder against these teams as well, man. I think
Yeah.
what was it? He scored two against Watford the last time they were in the Prem on one of the last games of the season.
We drew 2-2 that game.
He was desperate. He was desperate for the golden boot that match, I think. So yeah, man, I'm expecting him to plunder. I need him to
okay, so we'll go into detail in the preview pod, but yeah, quick predictions then for that Watford game at the weekend.
3-0.
3-0, yeah. Seun and Dan.
I'm manifesting that.
Yeah, I'm
as well.
I'm gonna go 4-1. 4-1. Yeah.
You guys are confident, boy.
What, no Ramsdale clean sheet. Hey, Lewis is not going to have that one, you know.
I think Ben White might all of this rashness might come back to bite him in it. Young penalty.
Yeah, I'm not as confident as you, man. Yeah, I will just go. But you know what? I've always viewed myself as a bit of a cautious optimist. That's how I like to view myself when it comes to Arsenal, innit? So, the thing is, you guys will call me that, but the way some of you guys move, you guys are looking a lot more El Posse than me, boy.
Yeah, bring the predictions up, man. On route to 70 goals.
Well, to be fair, we do need to bring up that Excel sheet we done. You know, we were doing player predictions because ESR looks like he might be about to hit some, you know, some. If
he stays fit for the whole season, he might actually hit 10 goals. You know.
I hope so. I hope so because, like I said, his creative numbers are down, but his dribble and shot numbers are up. So, which I think probably fits in with what the coaches have been saying. They've been telling him to take more shots, take more risks himself. So we'll see on that one. I will go with us to beat Palace Watford 2-0 on Sunday. So here's hoping we have another successful instant match reaction that we can talk about. But gents, thank you very much for your time tonight. Let's leave it there, and we'll speak to you guys soon. Peace.
Take it easy.